Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And first of all, I was having a bad headache yesterday, so I'm sorry I was unable to post guys, but don't worry. And before this video starts, I'm gonna be cancelling What If Naruto was raised by the Hyuga clan guys. I've seen that most of you has lost interest in that story, and I'm also losing interest, so I'm gonna cancel it. So yeah, it's gonna be deleted guys, but don't worry because you're gonna get in some new series today on this channel and also over an Anime King too, because seeing that I've already finished some of my what ifs, something new is coming out, so don't worry, just stay tuned and I hope you guys enjoy. But for now, I'm gonna be giving you part 36 of What If Naruto was the Otsutsuki King. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Begin the intro. So the last spot we left off, Kakashi and also Sasuke was Tsunade's bodyguard as they went to the Kage summit. Tsunade had to inform all of them that Konoha was not behind the destruction of the Hidden Stone because the place was completely annihilated. The story wasn't clear to the other nations what really happened with that day with Naruto. They just knew that he fought someone who came to this earth really powerful. As Tsunade told them, the man's name was Dizak, as she told him if that man came here, she feared that none of them could stop him. Given how powerful Naruto was and the way he handled Naruto, it was extremely bad. Meanwhile, Naruto was walking as suddenly Black Zetsu came upon him. Black Zetsu figured that something was wrong and he was even more convinced when Naruto did not recognize him. He lost his memories. As he was talking to Naruto, Naruto sensed something. He could sense strong levels of power off in the distance. He's been looking for the strong leaders of this planet. He went to the Hidden Stone, he found out that place name was, and that old man was the leader of that place. But he was not that strong. So Naruto headed off without even talking back to Black Zetsu. Meanwhile, the masked man appeared, claiming to be Madara as he came there talking to the 5 Kages. As he told them to hand over the remaining 3 Jinchurikis, he will bring eternal peace to this world by saving it from all the hatred, all the wars, everything, and all of them will be united with him after he recreated Jubi and used that power to cast an eternal genjutsu over the world. As all of them was against him on that. He declared war on them all, but the wall then exploded as Naruto stepped in the room, shocking the hell out of everyone. As he looked around, the masked man tried to disappear in a swirling vortex, but Naruto grabbed him and threw him aside, right out of his vortex. It was then Sasuke's eyes started to glow golden as it flashed in Naruto's eyes, making Naruto step back in pain as he held his head. He then collapsed down, crying in pain before he went still. Meanwhile, it was then that Amara, she went to the Hidden Leaf village as she found Mito. As Mito was with Ino, as Amara explained the situation, but she was surprised when she saw that Ishiki was coming to this planet. So that means the power trail, as she told him to come with her. The group then arrived as Ishiki and Amara came there, as Naruto was there lying down on a table, completely unconscious. As Mito and Ino couldn't believe it, the both of them started to cry instantly when they saw him. As Ishiki told him that his mind is currently trapped and they will have to go inside. Meanwhile, the masked man, he was pissed after seeing that Naruto was back, but after seeing that Naruto fell unconscious right there, he have to take this opportunity. As he told Black Zetsu to get Kabuto, they're starting this now. Meanwhile, Mito and Ino and Ishiki dive into Naruto's mind. As they arrived to see Naruto Otsutsuki, he would not let them pass, as the real Naruto was in the house. It was then that Otsutsuki and Naruto started to beat the crap out of all of them, as outside Ino and Mito was bleeding. As Sasuke wanted to get them out of there, but they couldn't, as Ishiki was the only one that can break the link. It was then that sliver of chakra that went inside of the cube that Kaguya placed Naruto in when he was much younger. that came from Kushina, that chakra. It reacted, and a spectral form of Kushina came there as she told him to wake up and open his eyes and look what is going on. Snapping open his eyes, the house exploded as Otsutsuki Naruto had to bow as he used a tremendous force and drop it on him. Otsutsuki Naruto was then exploded by the original Naruto as all of them were blown out of his mind. As they waited, his eyes then snapped open on the table. So yeah guys, that was basically where we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So what is we begin this new episode? It has been at least 10 seconds. He hasn't moved yet. No one has said anything. Naruto was just currently lying on the table as he blinked a few times. He slowly picked up himself as everyone tensed a bit. When he just came here, he seemed like he was ready to fight or attack. Mito and Ino looked at him. He wasn't talking or doing anything, he just looked at his hands. He then looked up as his eyes contact with theirs. They then saw it. Without hesitation, without anything holding them back, the both of them rushed forward and enveloped him in a tight, bone-crushing hug. As everyone saw that he smiled, all of them released a sigh of relief, knowing that if he hadn't come back, it would have been difficult to take him on. Well, it would have been impossible. Even Sasuke was smiling, seeing this sight in front of him, as the two girls broke down crying. But Naruto held on to them, comforting the both of them. Meanwhile, a distance away, 100,000 Zetsus. They were coming towards the summit meeting. The only plan of action that Madara sees right now is to overwhelm them with force and the Edo Tensei and try to kidnap the 9-tailed Jinchuriki right there and then. Perhaps while Naruto is fighting off against the Edo Tenseis, he can kidnap her. Because if he managed to wake up, there is no way on earth that he could stop him. As Madara realized up to now that he's been pulled out of his swirling vortex and he's been sliced. As the kid was able to rip through dimensions, so how in hell were they supposed to stop him? He has changed his appearance as well. While most of his clothing and his mask, he now had on a white mask with the two eye holes. One of them showing the bright Rinnegan, and one of them showing his Sharingan. Behind him was 5 figures. Those are the 5 Jinchurikis that they managed to capture. The one tail is currently stored in the Gedo statue, saying that it doesn't have a host for it. As those 5 figures, they were also having the Sharingan and the Rinnegan. As Black Zetsu was at his feet. This time we get moving, he said. As him and the 5 figures jumped off. As the army of White Zetsu started to move. Meanwhile, in a cave a far distance away, Kabuto had a smirk on his face as his hood was up. His body had changed. He had a sick grin on his face. After so much degrading, after so much displeasing look, as Naruto didn't even remember him next time he saw him. But this time he would make sure that he get what is coming to him. But it was going to be hard. The Sage of Six Paths and Hagoromo was unable to take him down. And if Kabuto looked at things the logical way, he could see that he had no chance of taking him down. But the masked man informed him that something happened to Naruto and he's currently unconscious. They can use this as their best opportunity to get there and kill him before anything else happens. Because once he's out of the way, there will be nothing that will be stopping them. As he had a chessboard in front of him, he chuckled to himself. It has to be done quickly. Meanwhile, at the summit, everyone is looking at Naruto as the 2 girls break the hug with him. Are you okay now? Ino asked, as she looked directly in his eyes. He simply smiled at her. Don't worry, I'm fine, he said. He then turned his head. Oh, come on, stop crying, he said. It's real, I'm fine, and I'm back, Naruto said, as he looked at the both of them. And there is nothing that's gonna take me away from the both of you this time, he said. As Mito just kept on crying as she wiped away her tears, as she couldn't believe it, her brother was actually back. He was back right in front of them. But her mind didn't start to wonder, what if that guy came here again? What was going to happen? As Naruto didn't seem like he was worried about anything, he just seemed calm. As he turned his head, Ishiki, thank you. I wouldn't have regained my senses without you. It's not a problem, said Ishiki. But you know we have bigger problems to worry about. Amara then stepped forward. He's right. What if he comes? What are you going to do then? This time, it's not gonna go the same way, said Naruto. Are you planning on fighting that guy again? Sasuke asked. He stepped forward. You realize what happened the last time. You almost died. Well, I didn't. And that was his mistake, said Naruto. Not killing me that day. As he looked back to see the other Kage staring at him. I suppose you guys want an explanation, he said. Yes, said Tsunade. What happened? Where did you go? And that guy, this Zack, I still remember his name till today. Is he gonna be coming back here anytime soon? Well, first of all, yes. He will be coming back here to find me. How long will it take? Said Mei. Should we all gather our forces and prepare for a war? No, I'll handle it on my own. Are you crazy? Ino shouted. Last time you almost died. That can't happen again, she said. What do you mean handle it on your own? She's right. That's not gonna happen. We're gonna fight by your side. And if this guy is a threat to the world, we all have to fight. As she looked at everyone, seeing them approving their statement. Naruto, said Gaara. As Naruto turned his head towards Gaara. You don't think we all stand a chance, do you? No, said Naruto flatly. As the Raikage looked at him. What do you mean by that? He asked. Despite the numbers, it doesn't matter against him. If we all wage war against him, your nation, your people, all of them would die a meaningless death. I am the only one right now that can take him on. I don't understand, said Amara. How? I don't know how. But the both of you are supposed to have the same power. It's supposed to be half and half. But somehow he's just that stronger than you. What has changed? What are you gonna do this time to make sure that you defeat him? As Naruto simply smiled. You don't have to worry about that. Like hell she don't, said Tsunade. She's right. The entire world is at stake here. What exactly do you have in mind, she asked. I know what happened last time was bad and you were almost killed. But this time, if you come back here and realize that you got your memory back after all of this, after I'm judging that he did to you. Yes, said Naruto. For so long, I've been running around as a sham, a shell of my former self, because he took away my memory. But I remember everything now, both sides. And I assure you, this time I won't fail. What did you do? Asked Ishiki as he looked at Naruto. Something was different, despite knowing this Zack's strength, because they battled before, at least 3 months after he came to the planet. And this Zack, well, they had to go to a different planet, because the entire place was torn to pieces. And this Zack came out on top. So what exactly changed? Yes, they spend a lot of time apart, and he's been off on his own on different missions, and he did conquer that planet with beings that are very powerful. But still, does he really think that he has the power to take on his brother? Ishiki looked at Naruto. Something was different about him. He wasn't worried about anything, he was just totally calm. I already told you, said Naruto, it's fine. Tsunade was about to protest, and the others as well, when he turned his head. Something's coming, he said. Ishiki and Amara turned their head as well. As Amara, Byakugan activated. Is this world at war? She asked. War? Said Tsunade. It was then that Mito stood still for a while. Something was wrong. She started to gather up nature energy, until her sage mode activated, making her look at her. What is this? She said. As she looked around. What's going on? Asked Tsunade. There are some things coming here. They feel like human and a part of nature. And it can't be, she said. I can't even count the numbers. What do you mean? Said Kakashi. It's 100,000, said Amara. What? Everyone blinked in surprise and pure utter shock. What do you mean 100,000? Said Mei. As Amara looked at her, exactly. There are 100,000 things coming here right now. They're not exactly your kind human. They're mixed with something else. But they have the same thing that you call chakra on this planet. It's coursing through their body, but it's not a lot. But it seems like an army, and their location is right here. They will be here soon, she said. Oh, who already hears that voice? As a White Zetsu came out of the ground. "What is this?" said Tsunade. As everyone turned, it was then that White Zetsu started to grow on their body, feasting upon their chakra. Ishiki looked down as he raised his hand. Several black rods ripped through the White Zetsu's head, ripping it off of him. As Naruto raised his hand, all the White Zetsus that were on the Kages and Mito, Sasuke and Ino were pulled away from them violently, causing the White Zetsus to be crushed together in a ball as they compact together before bursting into white flames. As the things got incinerated, Naruto snapped his head up. The moment he did that, the entire place came caving in. Massive explosions went off. Meanwhile, outside on his white dragon was Madara with a big smile on his face. "Now this is true art," he said, as he kept on raining down explosive after explosive until the entire meeting summit was completely leveled down to the ground. As he smiled watching the fireworks, several more coffins were a distance away, but their lids were shut. The masked man was behind them as he stood there with his giant army emerging. The White Zetsus rushing forward like savage beasts. "I don't know what happened to you, Toby, or how you're the mastermind behind all of this," said Madara, "but it seems like you don't need any of those guys anymore, because this is already over. If you think something like that can kill him," said Madara, "then you're sadly mistaken." It was then the rubble started to rise up, as everything was blown away violently. Ishiki stepped out, and then Amara as well. Behind them was Naruto, and all of the people safely in cubes. As the cubes were placed down and released, the Kages looked out. "So, this is what he meant by war," said Mei, as Kojiro clenched his blade, as they could see the 100,000 White Zetsus coming. Madara then spoke. "Uzumaki Naruto," he said, "you have been a thorn in my side for a long time. I thought you were dead, but here you are. But it doesn't matter now. We will be taking her." Naruto looked at his sister and smiled. "It seems you have improved a lot," he said, looking at her sage mode activated. "You too," he said, looking at Ino. "I can tell the both of you have become stronger. And I know that the both of you have gone through a lot. Since I was gone, I'm sorry about that. You don't have to apologize," said Ino. "It was not your fault. We only have to blame that guy called Zach." "Yeah, she's right," said Mito. "Don't ever apologize for that." As Naruto smiled at the both of them, "Sasuke, seems you're doing well as well." "You're the same old Kakashi," said Naruto, as Kakashi gave Naruto a smile. "But it's been a while since I've been here. How about you guys let me handle this?" As he looked at them. "Naruto, I'm not doubting your power and all, but that's enough," said Madara. The coffin lids then dropped open. "It's time I get what I came here for." The Raikage widened his eyes. So did Gaara and Mei, as they looked shocked. The Raikage watched his brother. The third Raikage stepped forward. Gaara saw his father, the user of the golden dust, as Temari and Kankuro shot as well. "Gaara, Kankuro," said Temari. "I know, sis," said Kankuro. "That bastard," he said, looking at Madara up ahead. "This is Edo Tensei," said Naruto. "I saw this jutsu in Orochimaru memory. It allows one to return one's soul back to the land of living and use them as their puppet." As Gaara clenched his fists, as the sand around his feet started to build up, the Raikage then looked forward as he looked at his father, as life came in their eyes. "It seems like we have been brought back," said the third Raikage as he looked at his hands. "Yes, it seems that way," said Raza, as he looked over. Gaara? Is that you?" As Gaara looked at his father. You have grown. So it's been a long time since I've been dead." As the third Mizukage looked around. "This jutsu, it belongs to the second Hokage of Konoha. Who is the caster?" As he looked behind him to see a man standing there in a mask. "Let me guess, you're the ringleader." "Huh? Wait, Yagura?" As the third Mizukage was surprised, as he saw Yagura behind the masked man. His eyes seemed lifeless, and he wasn't moving or talking. A despicable jutsu indeed. I have no control of my actions, he said. It was then more coffins came out of the ground. As a lid started to fall over, Tsunade's eyes went wide. Hanzo, she said. But the next one took her for a shock. As the first thing she saw was the blue hair. That long blue hair. As she saw his blue eyes. And that smile that she remembers so much. Dan? Dan blinked a few times. Tsunade, is that you? He said. As he was surprised. He didn't notice what she was wearing. Hokage, huh? He said. I never judged you for someone like that. Tears were at Tsunade's eyes. Despite the situation, he was talking so casually. As he looked around. This is the second Hokage's jutsu. So we have been brought back to the land of living, he said. Hey, you people! As the third Mizukage looked over, you people seem to be the good people here. You should know we're about to attack. Our bodies. It's gonna be moving on its own right now, so prepare yourself. As Rasa raised his hand as golden sand appeared, as he tried to wash over the entire team. But Ishiki stepped forward, with his golden eye looking at the sand, and the entire thing just vanished away. As everyone looked around wondering what just happened. Watch yourself, said a voice, as the Raikage saw his father coming towards him with tremendous speed. As the man clapped back two of his fingers, and he was pointing two towards the group. But Amara stepped forward as she raised her hands. White chains exploded from the ground and wrapped around the man, restraining him tight as they pulled him down to the ground. He tried to break out of it and tried to do anything to get away, but nothing was working. They then heard an explosion and two mighty roars as the gold and silver brothers emerged. The both of them eyes seemed very lifeless. Kabuto wasn't taking any chance here, as the both of them quickly undertook Tail Beast transformation. What? Said Mito as she held onto her stomach. As Mito opened her eyes, she was back in her mindscape. Hey, Kyube, what's going on over there? She said. Are those guys like you? She asked. They're nothing like me, he said as he looked at her. But they do have some of my power. So I suggest you watch yourself before you die out there. Do you really think that little of me? Mito asks. I mean, don't you think I'm a lot stronger from what I really was back then? Just use my power if you feel like you're gonna die. So concerned, she asks. He simply huffed as he didn't say anything else. As she exited her mindscape, she then heard the White Zetsus at her feet were trampling upon the ground as they were rushing fast as they can, coming towards the group. As Madara stood there in all of his might and his glory, looking down at all of them. Naruto went down as he placed his hand on the ground. A golden shower washed over the entire place, also washing over the White Zetsus. It was then their movements came to a stop. The entire 100,000 army. Madara's eyes went wide. What is going on? Do it, he said. Why are you stopping? He asked. It was then their bodies started to change. Their bodies started to give root and exploded into trees. Madara watched with pure shock and horror as his Zetsus started to turn to trees, all of them. What are you doing, Tsunade asked as she looked at Naruto. These things are basically trees who have been given life. I'm just reverting them to what they really were. As the White Zetsus all started to grow up, as the entire area where they stood was now filled with trees covering the entire area. It was then that Kabuto cursed where he was. It seems like he has to pull the big guns really soon. But let's see how these do first. I'm impressed, the third Mizukage said. To see that there's a ninja like you to be able to stop an army like this. Who exactly are you? He said. The name's Naruto Uzumaki, said Naruto. Uzumaki? From the famous Uzumaki clan, he asked. As he dreaded saying that, knowing that it was his time when the Uzumaki was brought to a fall because of his village and Kumo and the Hidden Stone. Amara walked over. They are just build-up of this chakra that you told us about. If we siphon the chakra off of them, they will revert, and their souls will be sent back. As she placed her hand on the third Raikage's head, as the chakra was poured into her, it was then the man's body turned to pure paper and shredded off of the body that was there, as his soul was set free. Madara was fuming as he clenched his fists, as he couldn't believe this was happening, as Ishiki and Amara stepped forward. The Edo Tenseis did not even stood a chance in hell. As Ishiki moved forward, Dan, Deidara, all of them came towards him. He simply extended his hands outwards. All of them were pierced with rods. As Madara could see it, barely. They were black rods, but they were small. Smaller than the eye could see. But then they just became large. What kind of power is this? Just what in the hell are these people? He knew that Naruto was a strange being, but to think that there's more of them, so much more out there. Ever since that day, he dreaded of any of them coming back here. And now they're here. He clenched his fist as he looked over at Mito. As he saw Naruto stepping forward to join the battle, this was the best chance as any. He disappeared in a swirling vortex. Ino snapped her on her head. She quickly went through hand sign as she saw the thing opening up behind Mito. Mito, she said, duck! Mito dropped instantly, trusting Ino 100%, as Ino fired at a massive fireball that got consumed into the vortex. The masked man then emerged right beside the duck Mito, as his hand extended to grab her by the back of her shirt. But Ino launched herself forward, unsheathing her blade as she swiped at him, but it simply went through him. Chains emerged from the vortex as they tried to wrap around her, but Sasuke arrived right in front of her, his blade, as he tear right through the chains, his blade cackling in lightning. His Mangita Sharingan already activate. Amaterasu, he said, as black flames lit up around the vortex, but the masked man retreated back. As he appeared a distance away, as Naruto walked up to Sasuke, he has an ability where he can send his body to a separate dimension. Oh, so that is the reason why we can't touch him, said Ino. Yeah. Naruto then held out his hand. It was like he was tearing space and time itself, as he just thrust his hand forward. What are you doing, brother? Mito asked, as he ripped open a hole in front of him. This is where his dimension lies, Naruto said. Sasuke, I want you to go in there. Whenever you see his body appear, attack him. Because he cannot be intangible in there. You can count on me, Sasuke said as he stepped inside. It was then Naruto blurred away with pure speed. The masked man tried to jump away. The moment he did, Naruto was surrounded as the Bichus appear around him. They were already cloaking their one-tail form, the cloak around them, as they looked at Naruto growling a bit. It was Yagura first as he lashed out with his staff, as Naruto blocked it and kicked him away. Yujito jumped towards Naruto with her claws extended. Naruto dodged her attacks as he struck her in the stomach. Her body was seen sailing as he smashed into the ground. Han and Roshi then moved forward as well. Roshi's entire body became encased in lava, as Naruto could feel the heat coming towards him as Roshi extended his fist forward. As Naruto grabbed it, it was then that white flames erupted around Naruto's hand. It was then that Roshi's body started to crumble under the heat. The heat that Naruto was producing was far stronger than his lava attack. His entire body became consuming white flames before Naruto threw him away. Han then appears, he released a massive dose of steam. As Naruto raised his hand, a massive gust came and blew away the steam as he punched right through Han's armor, sending him sailing down to the ground. As Naruto blinked away again, the masked man had to duck as he pulled the Uchiha War fan from his back and waved it at Naruto, but Naruto smacked it away as the thing literally cracked by just one hit. The masked man jumped away as he went through hand signs, unleashing a massive swirling fire coming towards Naruto, who simply raised his hand and the fire simply disappeared. Naruto raised his hand upwards as he was pulled violently. He tried to use the Rinnegan ability to stop himself, but it wasn't working at all. As Naruto raised his hand, a pale white line escaped from his hand and ripped through the masked man's stomach, but he went right through it. The masked man then coughed up blood under his mask. The attack didn't hit him, so why? Several deep cuts and a stab went through his body as his body returned back to the visual world. As Naruto then kicked him in the side of the face, the mask side cracked as he was sent sailing over. He hit the ground at thud as blood started to leak from his stomach. Ishiki and Amara was making quick work of the Edo Tenseis. "How?" said Madara. "What did you do?" he asked as he looked forward. Naruto raised his hand. The mask was violently pulled from his face. "Let's see who you really are." Kakashi's eyes went wide. Obito? As Naruto looked at Kakashi, "You know him," Naruto asked. Yeah. Kakashi couldn't even say anything as he saw Obito on the ground grunting in pain, holding his stomach. This must be a trick or some kind of illusion or something. How could this be Obito? Obito died a long time ago. Just how? Naruto crushed the mask in his hand and threw away the remains. "What happened to you?" Kakashi asked. "This world did," said Obito as he stepped forward, pulling himself up to his feet. "And you also. Because you failed. You didn't keep your promise to protect Ren." As Nadia looked at Obito, she knew that Minato a long time ago had students. Yes, Jiraiya told her about them. But two of them died. One of them died by the war, and the other one died when she was captured. She sacrificed herself. Kakashi was the one who took the blame upon himself though, because his hands was the one that killed her, and that sent him into a spiral. So it must be hard seeing them right now. He then went through hand sign, summoning jutsu, he said, as nothing happened. But then a hand broke from the ground. The hand ripped open the ground and emerged. As the entire place was shaking as the thing got out and released a roar. The mighty Gedo statue stood tall and proud. The thing raised its feet and brought it down on Naruto to crush him entirely. As the thing crushed down on him, Mito and Ino's eyes went wide. But that was when the Gedo statue got sent sailing straight over to the forest, where that was just created by the White Zetsus, as the thing crashed violently. Naruto appeared right in front of Obito and thrust his arm through his chest as he made himself invulnerable again, but he coughed up blood once more as several deep gashes and a long stab went right through him, making him collapse over. As he realized now, his head became intangible for a moment. As he saw Sasuke in his dimension, he quickly took it out before Sasuke could finish him. Naruto ripped open another hole as Sasuke came out of it. "That wasn't so hard," said Sasuke. "When someone knew about your technique, it's easy to find out what you're really doing." As Sasuke stepped forward to finish it, but Kakashi stopped him. "I can't believe it," said Kakashi. "All this time you've been the one that was wearing that mask. I can see that you have already lost yourself in hatred. And being your former teammate, I will make the tough decision this time. I will be the one to stop you before you can fall any further. There will not be any war. Because I'm gonna stop it right here and now," said Kakashi as he pulled a kunai. But Naruto looked at him. "Are you sure you want to do this?" "I have to." Obito was already bleeding out badly on the ground, as he had several stab marks over his body. How? Where did he went wrong? The Gedo statue picked up itself as the thing started to charge forward as Naruto stepped forward to meet the thing head on. As Obito was wondering where did everything went wrong, he thought for sure that everything was going to succeed. He was going to see Ren again in his ultimate dream world, but now he was going to die, and by his old childhood friend nonetheless. As Kakashi raised his hand and brought down his kunai, all of a sudden Gedo statue suddenly stopped. Kabuto cursed. Everything was going literally to hell. What could they do to stop him? What? Who? Who could he bring to stop this man? He already fought the Sage of Six Paths, and despite not fully being there because the battle was so destructive, he could tell that Naruto defeated the Sage, because it wasn't the Sage that he was fighting last. So, was Naruto the one that killed the Sage? And if he did, who could he bring that could stop him? He still had 2 persons that he had not used yet. But still, things were looking really grim. Everyone that he would bring, those other 2 was going to crush them as well. It doesn't matter now anyways, he has to do something else. 2 coffins arrive on the battlefield. The Gedo statue went limp as the thing went down, in a sitting position and then suddenly stopped after all. Meanwhile, Tsunade was talking to Dan. He was currently trapped by white chains. As this was from Amara, as Tsunade asked her if she could talk to him. Tsunade was crying and smiling as he told her how much he was proud of her, as she felt like a young little girl again. She missed him so much. 2 coffins arrived on the horizon, making everyone look up, as the 2 lids were blown off with force. 2 people step out of it. One, with red hair, features looking rather young but his eyes were rather dull, showing no signs of emotion at all. But the other one blinked as he looked around. Reanimation, he said. I thought our plan was to bring me back using the reanimated jutsu. Well, it seems it was for naught. Who is the caster of the reanimation, he asks. I am, said a voice as he turned. He was surprised. This was a kid that he implanted his gun into. You are not the user of this body. No. This is another reanimation. My name is Kabuto. I have been currently working with your partner, but it seems like fate has other plans in for him. Well, Naruto Uzumaki does. Uzumaki? Someone from Mito's clan, asked Madara. Yes, he's right over there, you can see. As Madara looked over, Nagato turned his head. So what happened? As all the vigils being sealed, well, we run into a little of a snag, and he's right over there. Your reanimation, along with Nagato, is a special one. Your bodies are bred for combat, making the both of you even better than your old days. Than when you were in your prime. So you know who I am when I was in my prime, Madara asks. I'm just speculating, but you can feel it as well. But your opponent is not one easy to be defeated. Is there any ninja in this world that is now strong as Hoshirama? Said Madara. Well, if I would say, he's right over there. But you have the advantage of being an Edo Tensei. But if the 3 of them turn towards you, I'm afraid you stand no chance. You speak of this boy like he's untouchable, some kind of a god. Well, we really don't know what he is. I suggest you try your best, or all of this would be for naught. As Madara turned his head. So you're the last tuner to ask, he stepped forward. Wait, I know you. You're Madara Uchiha, he said. Your face is on that statue back there, at the valley of the end. Madara looked at him. You seem to be praised from all different angles, even from the enemies, boy. I heard that you were strong. How about we dance? I don't have time to waste, said Naruto. I have to prepare for the real threat. As Madara simply smirked. So you don't see me as a threat, do you? No, I don't, said Naruto. Because you're nothing. It was then that Nagato's eyes became lifeless again. His body and his actions being totally controlled. As Nagato moved forward, held out his hand as a massive almighty push was released. But Naruto held out his hand and cancelled the effects, making Madara narrow his eye. I must say you're fast. And indeed powerful. But let's see what you truly got. As Madara speed through hand sign, fire style. Majestic Destroyer Flame, he said, as he blew out a massive stream of fire. The thing enveloped the entire area, making the Kages and Mito and the others stop fighting the reanimations. As the thing was coming in a raging fire, but Naruto stood there, as he did not even move. Holding out his hand, white flames erupted in front of him. The thing thrust forward with immense speed and rate. It was then that Madara's eyes went wide and white flames started to eat up his flames. This was the first time he was seeing white flames. These weren't the flames of the Amaterasu. What exactly were they? As he stopped his fire style, as steam filled the entire area, Madara and Nagato dashed through the steam at full speed. The both of them coming in incredibly fast. As Naruto was in the center, he brought up his hands. As the both of them made contact, a small booming sound was heard before Naruto grabbed their hands. As he spun them and threw them straight up in the air. He flew straight up in the air. They tried to block, but a hard punch connected with their stomach, keeling them over as he thrust them straight down. They hit the ground and boom! As a golden sword was made in the air and came firing down on both of them. The thing hit right in the center and exploded. With so much force, the entire battlefield had stood still for a moment, as a shower of force washed over them, stopping the fighting for a session there. Kabuto was cursed as everything was not going towards plan. If this keeps up, he will be defeated sooner than possible. As Naruto landed, both reanimations were slowly reanimating themselves as they picked themselves up. "I must say, you are strong," said Madara, as his eyes changed into the Rinnegan. "But let's see how you handle this power," he said. As, despite knowing the situation was grim, and this boy was stronger than he thought, he was smiling, because he loved a battle that could get his blood rushing and pumping. As Nagato said nothing, as he was the first one to charge, Nagato held out his hands as all of his fingers turned to missiles and fire. Missiles came raining down at Naruto, who simply raised his hand and deflected them all as they exploded right in front of his face. But not even a scratch was on him. As Madara came in from the back as he swinged at Naruto, as Naruto ducked under it and stomped into his stomach. His foot literally tear right through Madara, because he kicked with so much force, as Madara's side had to be reanimated, as Naruto smashed his head in, making his head go dense, as the paper started to reanimate his face again. Grabbing his chest, Naruto placed his hand forward, as white flames enveloped him. The white flames started to burn his body over and over, as he was being reanimated and burned at the same time. Nagato then held out his hand, as a massive almighty push was released, digging through the entire area coming towards Naruto, who simply flew straight up in the air. As the thing couldn't extend this far out, a cannon was then created on Nagato's hand as he pointed right at Naruto, as the cannon released a bright beam of pure chakra coming towards Naruto, who simply flew down and met it head on. The thing exploded as he had it touched, as a wave was sent out that pushed Nagato back. Before Nagato could do anything else, he heard footsteps behind him. The moment he turned, his head was separated from his shoulders, as Naruto grabbed him roughly and held on to him. It was then this chakra started to be sucked out of his body as Naruto threw him aside. Kabuto saw what just happened as his face became rather pale. How could he win this? His fears even more increased when Naruto ripped a hole through dimension once more. Kabuto was shocked when the thing opened up right where he was, as he quickly removed from his board. Kabuto stood there, couldn't believe. How? Your chakra is connected to them. So you're the mastermind behind this. But I'm confused. Who are you? Said Naruto. Kabuto was shocked. Again, the level of disrespect. He ripped off his cloak. Orochimaru? Said Naruto. I'm not Orochimaru, said Kabuto. He had already been struggling with his identity. And he was better than Orochimaru now. He was stronger, he was faster. He was a sage after all. I am Kabuto, how many times do I have to remind you about this? Have we met before? Said Naruto. As Kabuto clenched his fists. Not again, he said. But before he could blink, he was smashed into the wall. Kabuto didn't even get a chance to get up as Naruto grabbed his face roughly. You shouldn't have crawled out of your hole, said Naruto, as he grabbed Kabuto's face. A sick crack sound could be heard as Naruto snapped his neck, making Kabuto's body go limp as he collapsed. As Naruto looked at him, his Rinnegan eyes activated as Kabuto was lit up in white flames that eat away his body, remaining nothing behind. As Naruto stepped out of the vortex, returning back to the battlefield, Madara has reformed himself. I must say, you dance a lot better than Hoshirama. This is the battle I've been waiting for. Someone to dance with, finally, he said. Now what do you say we kick it up a notch? as Madara went through hand signs. It was then Susanoo came around him. Let's see how you do against this. It was then the entire place started to gain a shadow. All the reanimations were done, as Ishiki and Amara didn't even break a sweat really. These people were not really on their level, considering how powerful Naruto and Isak were, and they were some of the top fighters as well. So yeah, they were not on their level. It was then everyone looked up as they saw it. As the Kages came to a complete stop, Mito and Ino as well as Sasuke and Kakashi couldn't believe what they were looking at. What is this? Said Gaara, as Conqueror Timar was shocked as hell. A giant meteor was coming from the sky to crush them all. Ishiki saw the thing coming as he raised his hand. His eyes started to pulsate with power. As everyone watched as the thing vanished in seconds, Ishiki held out his hand as a small pebble dropped right in his hand. As the Kages looked over to see who Naruto was fighting, the four of them came to a stop. Mito blinked twice. Wait, I've seen that face before. It can't be, she said, as Ino was looking as well. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. That's Uchiha Madara, he said, one of the founders of Konoha. So he was brought back as well, said Tsunade, knowing that the only person to ever go up against him and literally win was her grandfather. But given the power that Naruto has shown and how powerful he is, and seeing that these two are here as well, they should be able to handle him, right? Do not be afraid, said Ishiki. He stand no chance against Naruto. As all of them looked at him. Just watch, said Ishiki. Madara was smiling despite the situation he found himself in. Things were really falling apart. He looked over and saw the Gedo statue just sitting there unmoving. But he was in the battle, and he wanted to continue. I must say, you have proven yourself quite powerful, boy. It seems that the ninja of this generation has something going for them. But let's see how you stand up to everything I've got. It's been a long while. It was then that Madara exploded into pure power. All of them, the Kages, Mito, Ino, Sasuke, Kakashi, all of them watched in shock. As a Susanoo was created, the thing was large, larger than Sasuke's, as it had on a Japanese style clothing. The thing made one move and shook the ground. As Naruto stood in front of the thing, Sasuke activated his eternal monkey to Sharingan, but Ishiki stopped him. Do not interfere, he said. It will be over soon. Don't worry, Amara said, seeing the look on Mito's face. He cannot win against your brother. As Ino looked at Naruto, as she wondered how strong has he gotten. These two seemed to have 100% faith in him that he would not fail. But it doesn't matter either ways. She has faith in him as well. She believed in him. She loved him after all. As the group watched as Naruto stood there unfazed. How about this, said Madara as he unsheathed his blade. Do you think you have the power to stand up against me in this, he said. Let's see if you have what it takes, said Madara, as he brought down the blade with full force. A golden hand broke from the ground and grabbed the blade, stopping it in its tracks, shocking Madara and everyone else. As Naruto looked up at him, if this is all the power you possess, I consider that you give up right now. Because Naruto bent his knees a bit. He pushed off with so much force that the ground broke, as he was now in front of Madara's face, in front of Susanoo. There is no way that you can win. As he pulled back his feet, he smashed it right into the face of Susanoo. The thing was sent sailing, a giant construction was sent sailing across the sky, before coming to a loud boom, breaking down in the ground. As Naruto hurled himself over there like a bullet, his entire body being covered in a golden glow, as he shot in the center. The moment he did that, the entire Susanoo exploded in pure flames and howling winds, shredding everything else around. As Naruto picked himself up, Madara's body was being reformed, his right hand and his right leg. He could understand How could someone so powerful be in this generation? He thought that his and Hoshirama generation was a pinnacle. Well, consider power, him and Hoshirama. They were always the best. But this boy, he's beyond anything he has ever seen before. Madara was then grabbed roughly by his throat. He tried to break free, but his strength, it felt like it wasn't there anymore. As I said, I don't have time to waste with you, said Naruto, as Madara power was sucked away out of his body. As he could only watch as his eyes started to close until they shut forever. As the Edo Tensei was broken, his soul was released. Mito and Ino rushed over. They were the first one to get there, as they were the first one that ran off when they saw that he was thrown violently. Well, that's just a no. Are you okay? Ino asked, as Naruto turned and smiled at her. Don't worry, I'm fine. She rushed over and hugged him. I just don't want to lose you again, she said, as Mito smiled at her brother. She's right. It's been so long. We can't afford to lose you again. As Naruto smiled at them, I know the both of you are worried, but I told you, I have everything handled. And this upcoming battle with me and my brother, you two cannot interfere. But he was... Don't worry, Naruto said. Next time I'll be ready. What happened? Mito asked. What do you mean, Naruto asked? I mean, judging from what happened the last time, you seem like you're confident enough to beat him now. Have you really changed that much? I knew you were strong, but to see what he was capable of, it scared me. And I don't want to see you in that state again. So what happened to you? She asked. Naruto walked over as he placed a hand on her shoulder, as he wrapped her arm around Ino's waist. Don't worry, you two, he said. I am going to be perfectly fine. And I'm going to protect everyone here, no matter what happens. Ino could hear the underlying tone in his words, the way he said no matter what happens. But she was confident in him. She had faith in him that he could do it if he said he could. And plus he had two people with him this time. As she looked over at Amara and Ishiki, they could help. Yes, they were Otsutsukis like him. And judging from the battle that they just saw, they were powerful. As Naruto and the girls walked over, the other Kages were just there stunned. Well, the right Kage, he was glad that he made an alliance with Konoha, because if Konoha wished, they could literally take over the entire elemental nations with this boy alone. As he doubted that he was near the strength of Madara. As much as he would never say that out loud, he knew that he wasn't anywhere near his strength. And no other ninjas on this planet except for these three right here was able to match him. As, despite how strong that Uchiha being, the legends that he heard about Madara was just unreal. And that boy took him out in minutes like he was nothing. Like he was merely a weakling ninja. Tsunade smiled as she was glad he was back. But they will have to talk about the upcoming future. What will happen? How will this battle take place? And judging from what happened the last time, the casualties. But the way Naruto was acting and reacting, he was just calm. Like everything was going to work out, as she wanted to know, what was he hiding? He was hiding something, he was not telling them something. It doesn't even seem like Ishiki or Amara know either. Time skip, it took a while. But everything was back to track. The meeting finally came to an end, well, seeing that it was interrupted. But everything was over now. In mere hours, they managed to end an entire war before it even started, thanks to the help of one Naruto Uzumaki. People will know what happened today, the one that saved them. But they will even more know when the day comes, when he has to save this world from literal death, when his brother came here. Because when does that know that Naruto memory has returned because of these people on this earth, he's going to want to annihilate all of them. And Naruto is the only one that can stand in his way. Not Amara, not Ishiki. None of the other Utsutsuki can. Because when he go full power, he can take on every one of them. Naruto is the only one there to stop him. Meanwhile, on the Otsutsuki planet, everyone was feeling the power that was just oozing from the mansion. People were scared to walk near it, scared to come close it, as Dizak was pissed. He heard a knock. Enter, he said, his voice sounding rather cold. As Momoshiki came into the room, he could feel the oppressive aura coming from Dizak. knowing that the man was pissed to the limit. "Have you found him?" said Isaac. Something was wrong. Naruto wouldn't just leave like that. Something was off, something that he did not know about. And the thing was that Ishiki and Amara, they are caught up in this as well. Ishiki, who he thought was one of his loyal followers, but now he see. Could he be the one to have told Naruto about him a long time ago? Yes, Naruto would erase his mind to keep their identities a secret, as they have left the planet as soon as everything went wrong. On the first few days he thought that Naruto was just off gallivanting with some other ladies somewhere else, but now he was gone completely. "I found them, sir," said Momoshiki. As Ishiki turned towards him, he went back there. "I didn't think that was a possibility, but if he did get his memory back, that would be the first place he would go." "What about those other two? They're there as well. I can sense their powers on the planet." "So it was them all along," said Isaac. "Those traitors," he said, as he clenched his fist. "Sir, what now? What will you do this time?" "This time, I'm going to take what rightfully belongs to me. Last time I spared him, I had someone by my side who was now conquered. There are simply a few left out there. First of all, I hold back on taking what rightfully belongs to me, because I thought he could be of some use. Naruto the Destroyer, but he has gone back to his soft, inconvenient, stupid self. This time I will take what truly belongs to me, and become the rightful king that reign over all. The entire universe," he said. "Get everyone. It's time they understand what traitors get when they betray me. And it's time they see that my brother name is gone completely. I know that many here have come to accept him. I like him in rather good ways. But it's time that I show them that he is nothing more than under me. It's time I show them the real power that belongs to a king." As he got up and walked away out of his chambers, leaving Momoshiki behind with a smile on his face. When it was him, here, he was one of these top lieutenants, and could do as he pleased, but with Naruto here, things became hell for him. But now that he's getting rid of him, he will be back on top because Dizak loved to sit around like a king and act like he's a noble, and don't waste his time on things that he see that is beneath him. So Momoshiki will be the real one running the show, and Ishiki will also be gone, meaning otherwise from Dizak, no other can test his power. "Yes, that bastard ruled the day. He humiliated me," said Momoshiki as he went off. So yeah guys, I'm going to be ending this episode right here. Remember to stay in tune for the new what ifs coming your way, and I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. And I hope you guys enjoy this as well. I'm off now. Peace.